Events tonight, we definitely heard of some kind of gathering near the 5th Precinct in Minneapolis. That's near 31st and Nicollet. It's kind of right in the heart of the uptown area.
Yeah. David Schuman joins us right now to tell us what's going on there. David?
Hey guys, you can't see me because there's not enough room in front of the cameras, but everything you want to see is happening.
Well, we'll wait till we get David's audio, but we can talk over this picture until he's able to speak. This is a much bigger gathering than we were led to believe. Obviously, that's First Avenue. The 5th Precinct's kind of right in the heart of the uptown area. And there's a good-sized crowd. I can't tell if the people in the safety vests in the upper left part of the screen under the First Avenue live bug are any kind of law enforcement folks, or if those are more like construction workers. I see some of them have white hats on. I don't see a lot of police as you do, but I certainly see some people gathered in that area. We had heard earlier that there were police on the rooftop at the 5th. And then we also heard that there might have been some fires in the area. We didn't see any evidence of that, but pretty sizable crowd.
Isn't this the 5th Precinct? You were saying yes. Yes, yeah. It is the 5th Precinct. So from what I'm seeing, people were saying that crews, I should say protesters, they were saying it was a peaceful protest, just from what I'm gathering on social media here. So I can't, verify all this, but from what I'm seeing, and a bunch of people who are tweeting and saying things, that the group was saying they're peaceful protesters, and they've been there pretty much most of the evening since the curfew came down at 8 o'clock, obviously not following that curfew. Also, like you said, reports of some police officers on the roof, but we can't really see at this point. Hopefully, when we talk to David Schuman, he might have a better idea of what is going on there. So this is one of several protests, obviously, going across the cities right now. I'd really like to be able to find out where exactly are the police officers, the National Guard, firefighters.
I think I think there might be two camps on that. Number one is if people are going to gather and violate the law, maybe they'll just let them violate the law, the law being the curfew, as long as they don't cause problems. And a lot of times the police will stage a couple blocks away, and then if there is a big problem, then they'll go ahead and go in. The other unusual thing in the middle of a global pandemic, when you start arresting a bunch of people, what do? Do you put them all in a bus in handcuffs? Do you have to place a mask on them? Do you have them around one another? If you take them to jail, do you leave them in the jail? There are just other issues that you have to wrestle with just because of the state of the world when it comes to a health standpoint right now. And I know that the governor even alluded to that a little bit this morning during his 10 a.m. press conference. But there might be people that look at this and go, gee, the letter of the law says you're not supposed to be out after 8 o'clock. And there might be other people that say, hey, we want to be civilly disobedient, and we're deciding to violate that law, and we're going to peacefully protest.
Yeah, it's really interesting, the contrast, though, between what is happening here in Minneapolis and what we saw going on over in St. Paul. As we talked to Erin Hassanzadeh, she said, very quiet there, and it seems like everybody is following the curfew that has been set there in St. Paul.
Really good point. She saw one automobile and two people on a bicycle, and she said other than that it was like eerily quiet. So yeah, this is a dramatic difference as we look in the uptown area near the 5th Precinct live of Minneapolis. This is around Nicollet Avenue, and you can see traffic moving freely behind the green light there. But again, I think the police and the governor might be satisfied, and it's really, I think, much more of the governor's control from what we heard today to go ahead and let people gather and say, you know what, we will disobey the law, we'll peacefully do it. We want to continue to protest, and as long as maybe they don't cause trouble, maybe that's the trade-off, that nothing happens.
Yeah, you might be right about that, because I can see through the traffic cameras, it looks like that they've kind of started clearing off where we were earlier with Mike Max down there on 35W.
Oh, in that area?
In that area, it looked like it. I just saw a little glance of the traffic camera. I don't know if we can get Maxie back to us.
Well, that or we'll stay with this as we see the fireworks go off and more people coming and going. I mean, obviously, there's hundreds of people out in this area.
Yes, can you hear me now?
I think David's trying to talk to us.
Oh,
David?
Hey, David. I know.
Yeah, hey guys, sorry about those audio problems before.
That's all right.
That's okay. You know what, Dave?
Where are you, David?
We're 2 blocks away from the 5th Precinct, and there are a lot of people down here. We just saw fireworks going off. You can hear them now. think you guys could hear that. And my eyes are not good enough to see 2 blocks away, but I think the camera can zoom all the way down. You can see the massive crowd swarming around that 5th Precinct police building. But right now, everything does appear to be peaceful. We have not been able to see with our eyes or our camera a single member of law enforcement. We may be mistaken on that. That's not confirmed, but we don't see any. You see this group marching now, and I mean, the curfew is just completely being ignored, of course, different from the images we've seen in St. Paul. And we are on an overpass just to get on. We actually drove by Mike Max earlier to get to this spot, and cars were, I think you probably saw it, cars were parked along the entrance ramp on the highway, blinkers on, and didn't really see any members of law enforcement anywhere. But here is this large crowd coming down. We're above Lake Street at the 5th Precinct, 2 blocks off in the distance, and everything looks to be peaceful so far.
Yeah, I want to correct one thing I said, David, and then we'll get back to you. You know, this is about 2 blocks off of 35W near First, and Blaisdell's about a block away. I had the complete wrong area when I was talking about it earlier, and I just want to reorient people as to where this is. This isn't terribly far from the 3rd.
No, it's not.
So this is right around First and Blaisdell. But anyway, David, so, you know, Amelia and I were wondering if police were maybe staging in a separate area or if they were several blocks away, but it sounds like you haven't seen any kind of law enforcement presence.
No, and we are actually on an overpass on 35W. That's why I'm not in front of the camera. There's just not enough room for me to stand there. But we haven't seen any law enforcement staging. They could be around, and maybe they will come down later, but for now, really is nothing. And, you know, we had expected to see some National Guard members earlier. I reported that Governor Tim Walz ensured that the state would be in complete control tonight, and no violence, not like we've seen last night. The air was a little hazy with smoke before. That's probably from the fireworks. We haven't seen any flames. But, yeah, I guess we expected to see more out here.
And David, I know there's a gas station right over there. Any disruption over there? Anything like that? But I know you said that it's pretty peaceful. I don't know if you can see. You're pretty far away.
I drove by it yesterday, and the guy painted a sign on it that said empty. So if you look at the print of Stop and Shop, it's boarded up. It's been boarded up.
Oh, it has been boarded up
since Monday. Actually, since Tuesday, and there's a sign on it that says empty. So I'm not sure if people would get in there if they'd find much. Although they broke through and they did get in. Maybe empty was just a ploy.
Well,
that place is definitely being looted.
That empty sign. I see that empty sign. That I just spotted it, and the boards are still up. I still see empty. No one looks to be trying to get into it right now, although there are a lot of people around the building.
Just standing in front of it?
Well, David, can you go back and pan to it? Because I think it has been breached, and I thought I saw some people coming out with stuff underneath it. I know you're shooting a camera angle from a long way away. So, I mean, I literally drove by there a couple days ago, but I can see that people are coming in and out of it right there. And it looks like that guy's holding up a trophy. That guy's coming out with something.
There are a couple.
Maybe empty was just a way to keep people out, but that big guy there just came out of the store, and now people are going in. So, and it looks to me like they're carrying materials out of there. That guy's got a case of something on his shoulder, and people are going in and out. So, you know, I haven't had a chance to talk to any.
that part because I can't see that well.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. You know, stay on it because we'll keep an eye. If you stay where your camera operator was, that would be great, and we'll keep an eye of what's going on. And I'll ask you a couple of questions while we're doing it, because people are definitely having their way going in and out of the store. I haven't had a chance to get on the phone to talk to any sources. I don't know if you had. Amelia and I were wondering if philosophically, if the idea is we're not going to enforce an 8 o'clock curfew as long as there's no major violence, and we'll let people do this, or maybe there's a degree of looting. Have you talked to anyone?
David, we'll come right back to you.